certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
And welcome to another episode of Rankum. It's going to be a fun one today. We're talking about Emily Blunt. And first of all, I'll apologise for it being really late because I was having some really technical issues. I was getting to the point where I was considering postponing this. But we've got JPO here. JPO, how's it going?
Hey, just Danny, I'm going to put it blunt. I really like Emily. So, John, if you mess things up.
Jonathan, how are you going?
Yeah, I was referring to the Jim Halpert there, not me. No, I'm doing well. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting, this is going to be a delightful discussion. Yeah, I think it's one of the best working actresses today. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be many to fight about, maybe one or two, but yeah, this is going to be a fun discussion.
Also here we've got Eric. Eric, how's it going?
I'm doing fine. I'm here to make it less delightful to be around. I'll say no to everything I don't like or haven't seen. No, I hopefully I have seen at least 12 movies of Emily Blunt. I really like her. I like her a lot in her most recent movie, which will probably come up later or not. I don't know. But it should be fun.
But yeah, if that how this is, it's going to go around and nominate a movie that we think belongs on a top 12 list. Because we've only got 4 people here, it's going to come down to the other 3 people on the panel. The person nominating the movie, they'll be bringing it up, but it's going to come down to the other 3 whether it makes the list or not. JPO, what is the first movie you're going to bring up?
So, how many yeses do I need?
At least 2.
All right, thank you, everyone, for answering the question. Let's go with the best movie of last year. Let's get into next. Obviously, kind of a Killian's thing, but Blunt is fantastic in it as well. It's one of the greatest movies, maybe of the decade as well. So let's get on the list. Oppenheimer.
Jonathan, what do you say about Oppenheimer?
Yeah, he cut out there for a moment, and I assumed it was Oppenheimer from last year. It's a definite yes. Yes, it's Killian's and at times RDJ's movie, but Blunt is actually very quietly powerful in her nonverbal expressions in certain scenes. And with each viewing, I've seen it 3 times now, with each viewing, she has a definite powerful presence in each scene, specifically the interrogation scenes. But yeah, she's great in it. It's a great movie. It was my favorite movie of last year, so yes.
Eric, what do you say about Oppenheimer?
I mean, it's a very obvious yes for me as well. If it were just for the scene where she refuses to shake hands with Benny Safdie, that would make it for me. She deserves to be. I'm very glad she was nominated. She's really good in it, and it's definitely a yes. Yeah.
Yeah. I use this as an excuse to rewatch Oppenheimer for this because why not? It's a good movie. And Emily Blunt is great in the movie, and it definitely belongs on this, so it's an easy yes for me as well. So Oppenheimer is going to make the list. Jonathan, we go back to you for your next nomination. You're nominating Quiet Place. Oh. Yeah,
anyway,
Jonathan.
That was the joke. That was the joke there. Yeah, I am nominated Quiet Place. This is a great performance by Blunt. She should have gotten a supporting actress nomination as the mom. She has to tackle both having to endure a pregnancy during this kind of disastrous, I would say, epidemic. I don't know. I don't remember, but yeah, this is a remarkable performance by her and Krasinski, the actor and director. And I mean, that scene sequence alone associated with her having the baby, and then after having to step on a nail. Whoo, man, that's a tense moment there. And then obviously the last shot of the movie, it's badass. So, A Quiet Place.
Eric, what do you say about A Quiet Place?
I mean, I was going to say the joke was going to be that it's pretty much a guarantee that the Quiet Place is going to make it. That's why Kara already put it on the chat over here. So yeah, there's no issues with A Quiet Place. This is a fantastic movie. Emily Blunt is great in it. Uh, I don't know what else to say. I should keep quiet on it. But yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones I probably really sure is going to make it anyway. But yeah, it's an easy yes for me for A Quiet Place. It's a great movie, and it's one of those ones that it definitely is utilizes like the sound or absence of sound perfectly. So yeah, it's an easy yes for me as well. JPL, but what do you say about Quiet Place?
Yeah, I don't see anything in the first round. Well, I don't know. Malcolm, you have some hot takes. I don't see anything in the first round though, and being not anything but an obvious yes. So definitely.
Um, but Eric, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Yeah, I was gonna say around the same things as JPO said. Like, there's at least 7 or 8 movies that would be a definite yes for me and Emily Blunt, and I think we should add the movie that probably put her on the map for most of us. That's The Devil Wears Prada. It's a smaller role as well, supporting character. That although she's like the fourth, or fifth bill, something like that, maybe even third, and she's fantastic in it. That's she. I mean, she doesn't outshine Meryl Streep, but she keeps up with her and then Anne Hathaway. So she should be that. That's the first sign of her promise as an actress, and she's fantastic in it. So Devil Wears Prada should totally be on the list.
Yeah, this is an easy yes for me as well. Like Devil Wears Prada is great. And yeah, don't really have much more to say. I've talked. It's popped up a few times. Talked about this a lot. So yeah, it's a yes. JPL, what do you say about Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah, no, I mean, as Eric kind of hinted, this did kind of help put her on the map. The movie with Streep and Hathaway, two powerhouses. People still, found time to usually mention her in reviews and, giving her props as well. And this did help set her up for, future big co-starring leading roles. So yeah, it's definitely a yes.
And Jonathan, what do you say about the Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah, aside from Streep, Blunt is my favorite performance of the movie. She's quietly funny, and relatable. Like you like your job, or you sarcastically like your job. Um, yeah, an easy yes for me as well.
But yeah, moving on, it's on me, and I'm going to shoot my shot here because it's always going to be a hard task trying to step into someone else's shoes. But I'm bringing up Mary Poppins Returns. Like I think Emily Blunt was great, doing her own take on the character. And look, say what you want. I think this is a pretty good movie, and I think it's one of those ones like Emily Blunt wasn't trying to be an impersonation of Julie Andrews. She was making her own take on Mary Poppins, and I think it worked. So Mary Poppins Returns is what I'm bringing up. JP, what do you say about Mary Poppins Returns?
Well, I predicted it. Round ones were nothing but absolute yeses, and then Malcolm came up with one that I'm just not that high on. I think there's 12 better movies that should be on this list over this. This one's fine. I liked it, but it's a one-time move-on watch. I think there's 12 that are better, so it's a no for me.
Jonathan, what do you say about Mary Poppins Returns?
This is an interesting pick because I'm not as high on the movie. Because I just don't think the story is strong enough as a sequel. I believe Rob Marshall directed this, and I am not a huge fan of Rob Marshall. Um, Although Blunt is great as Poppins, this is a tough call because Eric alluded to a movie that just came out, and I asked both of y'all about it. I don't know if I want to ruin that. This is it puts me in a tough spot. You know what? I am gonna go a slight. Yeah, I only just know about her I just remember her performance and not the rest of the movie, and Dick Van Dyke's scenes. So tough call. I'm gonna go a slight no.
Eric, what do you say about Mary Poppins Returns?
Yeah, for a second I thought you were going to say like she had to fill the very big shoes that Kristen Stewart left for the Snow White franchise, but no, no. I mean, I was it was on my long list, Mary Poppins Returns, because as same as the rest of these guys, like I think she's pretty good in it, but I don't think about the movie that much. I know she did great, but besides the fact that the movie is kind of meh, like that's the only thing that's worth remembering. Yeah, Dick Van Dyke and Emily Blunt doing a decent, more than decent job replacing Julie Andrews. I was going to say yes because of Emily Blunt, but it doesn't matter.
JPO, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Going a little bit more R-rated now. We're going with Sicario here. That got to be on the list here. Really hard-hitting, great film here. Of course, Denis Villeneuve, and also too, just she is the real heart and soul at the center of this film here, of all the corruption around her. Del Toro, Brolin, and yeah, I think it works on many levels. It's a really harrowing watch, and I think it's actually in a way rewatchable as how good it is. So, Sicario.
Jonathan, what do you say about Sicario?
Yes, this is a great performance in an otherwise excellent movie. Denis Villeneuve's crime drama holds up. We still keep talking about the war and drugs. We still talk about her performance and how valuable of an asset she is in this first movie, that the second movie does suffer because of her absence. And she and Del Toro worked well together in those tense scenes, especially towards the end, the last scene together between them. So it's 100% yes on Sicario.
Eric, what do you say about Sicario?
Yeah, to steal a gimmick from another show, S is for Sicario. It's an S tier movie of Emily Blunt. I mean, most of the Villeneuve's movies are S tier in other lists, but Sicario is one of them, I think. It's not one I watch too much, but I do agree that Emily Blunt is fantastic in it. So it's a very big yes.
Yeah, I saw Sicario for the first time last year. It's pretty good. And it was going to be an easy yes for me as well. So Sicario is going to make the list. Jonathan, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up next, but all right. Oh, okay. I'm gonna nominate a performance that, well, let's just say boosted her as a tough action actress, a potential tough action actress, and obviously the MCU just had a missed opportunity to cast her as Captain Marvel based on this movie or after this movie, and I'm nominating Edge of Tomorrow. Edge of Tomorrow, she's excellent as the the, I don't want to say it, the Full Metal B, but she's great. She's excellent. She's the centerfold of this time loop of a mission next to Cruz, who's trapped in this time loop. Cruz is the sidekick in a way. He's the cadet because he works in public relations. But she's a badass in this movie, and yeah, she's terrific. So I'm going to nominate Edge of Tomorrow.
Eric, what do you say about Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow would have been my next one. That's definitely a big yes. Like she managed to steal the scene from Tom Cruise, the probably the biggest action star still working, and she's pretty great in it. She's yeah, the very best part about the movie, apart from the action scenes and all that. She's fantastic. We are probably going to say that a lot about her. Is that she's fantastic in most of her movies. So yes.
Yeah, Edge of Tomorrow is great. This is one that I haven't seen in a while. I was going to rewatch it for this, just had other things I wanted to either watch or rewatch more. But yeah, it's great. It's still going to be yes for me. JPO, what do you say about Edge of Tomorrow?
Hell yes for all you need is kill. Yeah, she showed a badass side to her as well. It's a great Groundhog Day but action style type movie, and so yeah, absolutely.
Uh, and with that, Edge of Tomorrow is going to make the list. Eric, we go to you for your next nomination.
Yeah, I wasn't for all the conversations. I don't know which recent movie have you been talking about before I got in the call, but I might be risking it. But I will nominate The Fall Guy. I know it's maybe too recent, like it's just in theaters. I saw it. It was on preview this week before. The very few movies they have on preview on my theater, The Fall Guy was one of them, and I have like a week of haven't seen it, and I think Emily Blunt is pretty great in it. I have read that a lot of people don't believe the chemistry between Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, but I actually really appreciated that. The biggest part for me was actually the romance between those two, and Emily Blunt gets to shine in her own accent, which we don't see that much in her mainstream movies. Like obviously she gets to talk in an English accent in her more prestige drama, royal medieval stuff, and I think she's pretty great. We also get to hear her sing in a karaoke, which is always a plus. She's a pretty good singer. So yeah, The Fall Guy might be risky, but sure, let's go with The Fall Guy.
Yeah, I haven't got around to seeing it. There was a choice between Challenges and Fall Guy for me. The other day I went to see Challenges instead. Um, and JPO, I'm pretty sure hasn't seen it either. But
Yeah, unfortunately, I might have seen it yesterday, but I was the douche coffee in the theater. I didn't see it.
and Jonathan, what do you say about Fall Guy?
I would have said yes. Yeah, this is a good enough movie to make the list, and because she is funny in this movie, but the hook is the romance between Gosling and Blunt, and that's the selling point, and it delivers. The scene that makes me laugh was the scene in the first third of the movie where Gosling and Blunt dissect a scene, and then while publicly discussing their relationship, their past, and all the crew are just saying yes or no or just attentive to it, especially the people in the alien suits, and that made me laugh a lot. And yeah, The Fall Guy is a fun movie. It's a good enough movie that should make the list, but unfortunately, y'all haven't seen it. But it's okay. Let's just say it's a good recommendation, a glowing recommendation for this movie. So, see The Fall Guy.
For my next one, I'll go for this. Got one on here, and I think the other one is just as good. I'm going for A Quiet Place Part 2. Her other movie she did with Cillian Murphy. But
Yeah.
and this is one of those ones that I think it's just as good as the first one, just as suspenseful, and does a really good job of expanding the lore. And it's actually because of the part two, which made me really excited to see the new one that's coming out this year, because just purely because of these scenes at the start where it kind of delves into the beginning of the whole invasion and that. And but yeah, JPO, what do you say about A Quiet Place Part 2?
So here's my only dilemma. I think it's a really good film here, so I'm definitely don't mind if Eric and Jonathan voted through, because I think it quality wise it deserves it, but at the same time, I kind of want to show love to more than just this franchise, so it's going to be a slight no based on that.
Jonathan, what do you say about A Quiet Place Part 2?
Well, interestingly enough, I don't have many movies on the list that worth qualifying. So that's why I would say yes to A Quiet Place Part 2, because it is a strong enough movie to watch and rewatch, in preparation for the prequel coming out this summer. She's still great in it. Not as good as the first one, but she is still great in it in an otherwise tense film. Yeah, they both work for me, so I will say yes to Part 2. I think it deserves to be on the list.
And Eric, what do you say about A Quiet Place Part 2?
Yeah, I was thinking about it too because same as JPO, I have the issue like maybe we want to have different types of movies on the list. But then I also have the same issue, issue Jonathan, that maybe I don't have as many movies as I wanted to have on the list. And A Quiet Place Part Two is, almost, if not as good as the first one. I think the slight edge, I'll probably say yes, mostly because she gets to shine a lot more in it. She's a bit more of the focus on the movie, as opposed to the first one, where she shares a lot of the time with John Krasinski. So she gets to do a lot more in the second one. I would stick to my yes, but let's see how the rest of the list goes. But yes, yeah.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, she shines more in the part two than part one because Krasinski. It's really Krasinski's and the kids movie in part one. Yeah, it's a good point.
JPO, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, let's see what we got next. Oh shit, let's go for Looper from Ryan Johnson here. I think he's a great director here. I don't think he's made a bad film yet here. There's a great sci-fi adaptation going into it as well. Maybe one of the last great Bruce Willis performances, him and my band, JGL. Again, just a great action thriller. She's also really good in it as well, kind of as a third lead here. And yeah, again, one of my favorite movies of that year. It deserves to be on this list here, Looper.
Jonathan, what do you say about Looper?
Yeah, I like this movie a lot. It's a really good another time loop movie. That is more interesting. A little slow to start, but it gets interesting as it goes along. I don't love her farmer accent. It's a little too cartoonish in a way at sometimes, but she does deliver a good performance, not a great performance. But I would say yes to Looper. I think it's a really good movie in itself, with a great JGL performance and also one of Willis's good performance. Last good performance is actually one of his best performances, in my opinion. So yes, to Looper. And the kid is scary, by the way.
Eric, what do you say about Looper?
Yeah, I always forget she's in that, but then I haven't seen it in a while. But I remember really liking Looper. I think as a movie itself is pretty strong to make mostly any list of top 12 movies of. I mean, obviously Bruce Willis and Joseph Gordon-Levitt and all that. But then I started to remember, and then Emily Blunt is really important in that movie. So I think that in itself deserves to make that movie on her list. Mostly because she's the one that we have to relate for in the case of the little kid that's really scary, because she's the one that actually cares for him and tries to protect him. So she's actually really, really important in that movie now that I think about it. So it's a very big yes now that I did my whole thing thinking.
Yeah, Looper would have been a no for me. I've tried multiple times to try and see what people are seeing in this movie. I don't like this movie at all. It's one of the few movies that I didn't like that I've gone back to a few times to try and watch it because so many people like it. It's just not going to be one of those movies I'm probably ever going to like. So it would have been no for me, but Looper's still going to make the list. Jonathan, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
All right, I'm going to shoot my shot here for this one. I love this movie to pieces, and I'm going to nominate the dubbed version, and this counts in my opinion. The dubbed version of The Wind Rises from Hayao Miyazaki. Yeah, she voices a character in Hayao Miyazaki's The Wind Rises. I believe it is Naoko Satomi. I think it's her. Someone look it up, please. But The Wind Rises, I think that she is excellent. She delivers an excellent performance in a very complex character. I don't want to give too much away about who she is, but it's a great movie about a person who dreams to be a pilot, but because of his nearsightedness, he can't. And then also there's a beautiful love story within itself. So it's a beautiful animated film from Miyazaki. I think, in my opinion, is one of the best from Ghibli. And yeah, this is my wild card pick. So I'm going to nominate The Wind Rises.
Eric, what do you say about The Wind Rises?
I mean, you're right, Jonathan. Her name is Naoko Satomi. Yeah. I have seen the movie. I really like that movie, actually. Yeah. I think same issue as Looper. I think it's a great movie in itself, but I haven't seen the dub version in English. I normally don't watch. I mean, I'm not an English-speaking person first, so if I had to watch a dub version, I'd probably watch in Spanish first. If I remember the character correctly, I think she gets enough to give a great performance as a dub. But I don't know if I agree to put something like that on the list, even if the movie itself is pretty great. I do recommend that a lot. How many movies we have so far? I think there's enough room of movies
Seven.
with like
Seven.
her in the main focus and her original language and all that. So I'll probably say no, but the movie itself is pretty great. You should watch it if you haven't.
Yeah, when it comes to anime, I only ever watch the sub version. So I love the Wind Rises. I think it's great. And once again, it reunites Emily Blunt with Joseph Gordon-Levitt,
Yeah.
Krasinski, and Stanley
Yeah.
Tucci. They're
Tucci's
all in the
in
movie. So yeah, I'm going to give a yes. JBO, what do you say about the Wind Rises?
I haven't seen it, so it's no.
Oh, come on, Eric. You want to reconsider or
Too late. No,
I
that's
don't
not.
think
It-
that's not done on this. Yeah,
oh man.
I think there's going to be lesser
Unfortunately, the
movies
Wind
of
Rises.
hers here, but yeah,
Oh,
like I said,
there's
the movie is
one
great,
that
but-
I'm just. Oh no.
Unfortunately, the Wind Rises isn't going to make the list.
That hurts.
Eric, what is your next nomination?
yeah. I like with the Wind Rises thing. Like I haven't heard the dub version, so I'm sure she makes a great performance. The movie is great. I don't know, like I don't know. But I will be sorry for that one later. But yeah.
When we bring up one, yeah, I think you will.
I mean, yeah, because all the movies I have are kind of lesser than Wind Rises.
Just say one.
Yeah, you're in a hurry. I'm
No.
going with Into the Woods. I think. Speaking of her singing abilities, I think she's one of the better performances of that movie. I think even if the character is just called the baker's wife, actually she does pretty fantastic with it. I think Into the Woods is decent. I don't love it as much, but Emily Blunt is great in it, so I would say Into the Woods.
Yeah, I like Into the Woods, but there's movies I got higher than it that I like more, so it's going to be a no. JPO, what do you say about Into the Woods?
Pretty much copy and paste what you just said, Malcolm. Here, it's not totally my type of musical. Not a big fan of it, so no. There's other things that fire.
Jonathan, what do you say about Into the Woods?
Yeah, I don't love this movie. She is my favorite performer in the movie. Giving my favorite performance. But again, Rob Marshall, I just don't click with his movies. I just don't, and except for a few. But yeah, I gotta go no. I think that Disney should not have participated doing Into the Woods. It's a much darker musical, and I think it was the wrong choice.
But moving on to me, you know what? I'm gonna try for this one, see what happens. I don't know how people feel about this movie or not. It's because people don't really talk about this much. But I'm gonna bring up Jungle Cruise. This is one I actually gave a rewatch. Yeah, and it's actually a lot of fun. Like, and I think Emily Blunt is really good in the movie. And say what you want about the Rock and his on set antics of his, but I think he's still good in the movie.
Allegedly, you leave.
Well,
Yeah,
that's what wasn't trying to. But yeah, I know it's allegedly, but yeah, um, but yeah, it's a really good movie, and I think The Rock is actually really good, and it's just a fun adventure movie of a ride at Disney that I didn't think would work in a movie, but they somehow found a way to make it work somehow. But JP, what do you say about Jungle Cruise?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I don't mind this movie here, and you know me, I'm a wrestling guy. I love The Rock. I had fun with this, but I have things higher still, so it's a slight no.
Jonathan, what do you say about Jungle Cruise?
I just wrapped this movie up. I just watched this for the first time. I haven't reviewed it yet. Absolutely not. I just don't. It's basically pieces of fun in certain moments that do not involve The Rock or Emily Blunt. And I'll be honest, I thought she was just okay in the movie. This is the first time I say it's an okay performance, because I think the scene stealer is really Jesse Plemons, and Plemons, who actually does that accent, you know, he understood the assignment. Let's just say that. I think that he's the one that, you know, understands this ride, and basically Johnson and Blunt does this C version of the African Queen, and it's not very interesting. I think it's a dull, noisy action film that just is overlong, and yeah, it was a little disappointing. The wait, was it worth the wait? Absolutely not. So no.
When you do review it, Jonathan, just give your review. We don't need the plot. You can always get the plot too much on Letterboxd.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I don't know if I want to give it the plot, to be honest. Yeah.
But
we know the plot. Just give us your review.
Yeah.
But Eric, what do you say about Jungle Cruise?
I mean, last year I went to Disneyland and I didn't get the chance to ride the Jungle Cruise because I wasn't working that day. So I didn't watch the movie because of that. I was planning to go to the ride, then watch the movie. So out of spite, I will say no, but I didn't watch it anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
JPO, what's the next movie again?
All right, here's my kind of wild card pick, because she's not the biggest part in it. She is a pivotal part. I think this is a really great movie here, so I'm going to shoot my shot for Dan in Real Life, the Steve Carell kind of slice of life joint of him going to visit his family here. It's kind of current love interest is Dane Cook, his brother, who also gives a really good performance as well. He kind of meets Emily Blunt as another potential love interest at one point in that movie here, and I just think it's a really super sweet movie here, and she's in it enough, and I also just quality of film. So I'm going to go for Dan in Real Life.
Jonathan, what do you say about Dan in Real Life?
I hate to say it, but I haven't seen it, so I have to abstain.
Eric, what do you say about Dan in Real Life?
Yeah, same issue. I haven't gotten to it. I'm sorry.
Damn it.
Yeah, unfortunately, I also haven't got around to seeing it.
You guys suck. Watch Dan in Real Life.
Why do they call it Pig Face?
And
just reading the
this is one I did try to find for this. I just couldn't find it anywhere to watch. That Jonathan, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Okay. Yeah, we were on a hot streak in the beginning. I was derailed a little bit. I like this movie, so I'm gonna go nominate Sunshine Cleaning with Amy Adams. I believe she plays in. Let me look it up. She plays like one of those slacker sisters who helps her with the furniture business. The furniture business, just carrying couches and whatnot. Or a cleaning business. I'm sorry. But also, it's just a really good sisterhood film in itself. A good business film, a good family film, a good sister film. Because in the end, regardless of how messy life is, in the end, it's really about one's happiness. So, and in the ending is really good. So, yeah, I'll nominate Sunshine Cleaning.
Eric, what do you say about Sunshine Cleaning?
Sounds lovely. I haven't seen it. Just great.
This is one I actually did watch for this because I surprisingly found it at my library. It's a really delightful movie, and I think it's one of the and I think both Amy Adams and Emily Blunt have a great chemistry in that, and I just think it's a lot of fun. So Sunshine Cleaning gets my vote. JPO, what do you say about Sunshine Cleaning?
It's all up to me. Luckily, no one seen Dan in Real Life has paid off for Sunshine Cleaning, which is right on the cusp. So it is now a yes. I did like this movie when it came out. I only saw it once, but yeah, it was pretty good. So I like it. So it's a yes.
Eric, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
It's a shame I don't have any really great movies to nominate, at least. So we will take this break to shoot some shit about Gulliver's Travels. It's not an actual nomination, but I will just let you talk trash about it for a couple of seconds because I'm just gonna waste this one to talk about how bad that movie is, and that's it. Go ahead.
I mean, it's an interesting tactic. I mean, look, honestly, I don't hate this movie as much as most people. I actually, this is one of those movies I went in with low expectations, and it exceeded my low expectations. I had fun with it. I'm still saying no. I've still got other things I want to nominate higher than it, but it's a lot of fun. JPO, what do you say about Gulliver's Travels?
There is a small part of me that wants to give it a big yes, just so we could have people get mad in the poll, because having people really confused. So what the fuck happened? Because no, this is legitimately the last one on my list. As far as I mean, not my 12 list, my Emily Blunt list. This is dead last. Yeah, no, this movie doesn't work. I'm sorry, and I want to like it. Jack Black, Siegel, Blunt, the plot. I want to, but yeah, this thing is just hell drum and not very good. So. Yeah, Emily Blunt didn't even want to do it. It was one of those like she wanted a different movie and to kind of scratch our back kind of deals, and she had to be in this movie here. Otherwise, she would have said no, just like Jonathan's about to say no.
Wasn't this?
Yeah,
I believe this is the one that she lost. The reason that she lost out to Black Widow or something like that. But Jonathan, what do you say about Gulliver's Travels?
I saw it for the first time on Max. Yeah, I agree with Jordan. This is actually my least favorite of the Blunt movies. Yeah, it looked like that she didn't have a good time, and even she admitted during a junket of The Fall Guy that she doesn't talk about that movie. And it kind of
she's brought that up even before Fall Guy. No, she's bypassed that movie in interviews a couple times.
Yeah. So yeah, like Malcolm, Eric, that was an interesting strategy. I'll just say, just read the book.
Yeah.
Watch the Ted Danson one. Is it Ted Danson?
Moving on to me. I don't know how this is going to go because I don't know how many people have either seen this or not or like it enough. But I'm going to go for Salmon Fishing in the Yemen. And this is a really good movie with Ewan McGregor and Emily Blunt. It's been a while since have seen it. Honestly, it's but it's what I do remember. I do remember loving it. So I'll see how this goes. JPO, what do you say about Salmon Fishing in the Yemen?
I give this movie a fat yes, Malcolm. Yeah, this is a movie. I don't know if it's a title or what, but I slept on it for a minute here, and I think I threw it on in the background one day because of it's McGregor, it's Blunt, and then I just started paying better attention to it, and ended up really digging this movie here. It's very charming, it's sweet, it's even an interesting tale in between the connection between those two. Yeah, this is a very kind of undersung movie. And speaking of the junkie for Fall Guy again, dressed as Beavis and Butthead, Ryan Gosling looks at him and Blunt goes, "Are you from Salmon Fishing in the Yemen?" Like he even randomly named dropped this movie within the last couple of days. So yeah, this is a big yes for me. This is my 12.
Jonathan, what do you say about Salmon Fishing in the Yemen?
Yeah, I haven't seen it in a while. But in a long while since it premiered, or I saw it on TV. But yeah, I liked it. I remember liking it, and yeah, I don't remember much about it except that it's about someone's a fish expert, and then there's a business consultant, and they discuss about fly fishing. But yeah, I'll say yes to Salmon Fishing in the Yemen. Mm-hmm.
Eric, what do you say about Salmon Fishing in the Yemen?
I don't think I have seen it fully. That's why I didn't have it counted. I think I've seen bits and pieces on TV. I would say yes because I love the title. It's just a fantastic title to remember. It's a good trivia answer to have in your back pocket. Yes, I'm fishing the Yemen. Yeah, that movie.
But that Salmon Fishing in the Yemen is going to. Is it the Yemen or just? Oh no, it's the Yemen. But it's making the list regardless. JPO was the next movie you're going to bring out.
Oh, is it me? I'm sorry. Or
no, JPO.
No.
A little bit.
Okay.
No. Stop it, Jonathan. But I'm
I'm
gonna go
sorry,
for
I'm
the
distracted by
Adjustment
something else.
Bureau. This is kind of the same vein of Sunfish in the Yemen. I remember, I don't know if it was the title or the trailer that I wasn't necessarily sold on this movie from the get go, but then I think they actually handled the plot really well here. Really good, interesting, context of, do you go for fate or do you go for love? And they're trying to fight, these men in suits chasing them, Anthony Mackie, amongst others, and I think they handle it well. It becomes a bit of a fun thriller, a really nice love interest story, and yeah, it's handled in a really interesting way that I actually ended up really digging. So the Adjustment Bureau is my nomination.
Jonathan, what do you say about the Adjustment Bureau?
They both give good performances. A good chemistry. I still am baffled by the movie's plot. It's one of those movies, those experiences in which you saw a movie where you're intrigued by the premise, you love the cast, but in the end, you feel a little empty as to what just happened in front of you. And that's my experience with the Adjustment Bureau, because at the end, I still don't know what it was about in the end. I don't, it's just fate or love. And frankly, I didn't really care, um, because it was just a goofy movie. And I've seen it the one time. Maybe it's due for a rewatch, but in the end, I got to go a slight no. I was mixed because I do like the premise, like the performances, but it didn't work for me in the end.
But Eric, what do you say about the Adjustment Bureau?
Yeah, as opposed to Salmon Fishing in the Yemen, the Adjustment Bureau doesn't sound like a fun title, but I'm sure it's a good movie. I haven't seen it. Uh, to hand it to JP, I would say yes, because this one I can see people asking about if it doesn't make the list. It's haven't seen it, I would suggest it's either way.
Yeah. So so just because I don't know if the other ones I've got higher than this are going to come up or not, I'll give this a slight yes. Like I like it enough. And yeah, that it's going to make the list. And Jonathan, now we go back to you.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I was distracted by the television. Just watching something. Okay. I'm gonna go with another one I just saw today, and I was very surprised that I did like it. And after a kind of a slow start, um, and this is not a movie or a genre that I gravitate towards, and I'm nominating the young Victoria. Uh, I think she delivers a solid performance as Victoria, as I bought her uh, quick ascension to the throne as the queen. I mean, she starts as a princess being controlled by her mom and the comptroller, and then after King William dies, I think that's his name. She becomes the queen, and and then people just make fun of her youth and inexperience. While at the same time, the romance works. It worked for me, and I think it was pretty sweet in the second half of the film. And so, yeah, I'll nominate the young Victoria.
Eric, what do you say about the young Victoria?
Yeah, as I alluded to earlier, like Emily Blunt made her bread and butter doing royal stuff, like every British actress has to do at some point. The Young Victoria is probably her most well-known one, so to represent that on the list, I think it should be a yes. Yep.
Yeah. I like young Victoria enough. And once again, some of the things I've got higher, I don't think people are going to either have seen or going to say yes to. So yeah, I'll give it a slight yes to young Victoria. JP, what do you say about the young Victoria?
I would have known for me just because I never saw it and had no interest.
If that young Victoria is going to make the list. We've got one spot left. Eric, what are you going to bring up?
Yeah. Can I? Probably shouldn't waste it. I don't have like a clear front runner for it, but probably should come out. I want to see what's the reaction to it. let's go with The Girl on the Train. I think it's one of her. It's not that recent. I was thinking it's recent, but it's not that recent. But it's like one of her main lead actress roles. The movie itself is not fantastic, but she's pretty good in it. And I don't think there's much love to it, but maybe it's a good final spot to have. But it's probably better movies that are going to come up later. So let's see what happens.
So I've currently got it on hold at the library. It just didn't. It wasn't returned in time for me to watch it for this, so I haven't seen it. JP, what do you say about The Girl on the Train?
This is gonna be a no for me. I really want to like this movie because again, her and kind of a mystery thriller sounds like fun. You want to be like Gone Girls level, but it's just kind of sloppy from what I remember, and not one I've really ever felt much need to go back to. Has its moments, but it's a no for me as far as again what's left.
Jonathan, what do you say about The Girl on the Train?
I really did not like this movie. I was very disappointed because when I saw the trailer, I thought I was like, "Oh, this is good. It's gonna be good." And then I saw the movie, and it was just a cold bore. And I'll say it wasn't really a steamy film. So yeah, I'm gonna go no. Absolute no.
No, it comes back to me, and I'm gonna go for the 5-year engagement. But I think her and Jason Segel have a really good camaraderie. What I don't know what the word is. Chemistry, very good chemistry. That's probably then I think the movie as a whole is really good as well. It's honestly been a while since I've seen it, so I'm definitely not remembering it a lot. But I remember liking it enough. So see what happens. JBO, what to say about the 5-year engagement?
I've got two more that I've been kind of flip flopping on. This is one of the two, so I'll go ahead and give it a guess because also of the two, she's in this more. She's the lead in this with Siegel. It's kind of a fun rom com here. This also doesn't necessarily go the way you always think it's going to go here with these two characters, which is something I applaud as well. Good fun side cast as well. Alison Brie and Chris Pratt before he kind of blew up. Kevin Hart. So yeah, it's a fun flick, and yeah, it makes my list. So yes.
Jonathan, what do you say about the 5-year engagement?
I think I know what you're thinking about, Jordan, and I have debate in my mind. The other movie is better. However, the 5-year engagement, she's in it more.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's flip flopping. I'm still hurt about that Wind Rises thing. Yeah, you know what? 5-year engagement. Yeah, it should go on the list. It's been a while, but I did like it just enough. And you're right; it doesn't go the way that I thought it would have in that movie. So, yeah.
My calculator is correct. That is the end. That is all 12 movies nominated on here. But Eric, what do you say with the 5-year engagement?
Yeah, I kind of have an idea of what's probably like a better movie where she plays a much smaller role. So I probably would have said yes to have a rom com here. I am now regretting the fact that The Wind Rises is not here, but I have my reasons, even if it's the better movie out of a couple of the here. But I haven't seen the dub version. I cannot vouch for it, but I'm sure it's great. I'm sure she is pretty good in it.
I don't know if we should even count the dub version anyway. That's kind of my other argument.
Yeah, that's why I didn't vote
Not
for
the
it.
original version.
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure.
I mean, it didn't make the list if we don't have that argument anyway, so it doesn't matter. But JP, what are some honorable mentions you had?
Yeah, the other one I was the person who I alluded to was Charlie Wilson's War. It's a good, political movie, a lot of good performances, and she is the fifth build. She has some stuff to do, but let's see. Kind of said it. I actually don't mind the Huntsman movie. I think they're kind of flashy and kind of whatever. And the Wolfman, not bad. So maybe we would have brought that up. But yeah, I think the list is pretty decent.
Jonathan, what are some honorable mentions you had?
Actually, yeah, Jordan just said it. The one title I was referring to was Charlie Wilson's War. She's not in it that much, opposed to the four actors ahead of her. I know. I mean, I still remember those scenes, though. I mean, yeah. But Yeah, that was the only movie left, in my opinion. So yeah, Charlie Wilson's War is good, but also, I mean, come on, The Fall Guy. If enough, one of y'all saying it, I don't know if you would have liked it, but I think it would have made the list.
I think there's a good chance it would have made it.
Yeah.
Eric, what are some honorable mentions you had?
Yeah, I also thought it was going to be Charlie Wilson's War, the other movie, but yeah, she's not as important in that. And speaking of that, I know doesn't really appear that much in the Muppets, but the Muppets is a fun movie.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
No,
But
we
she
talked about that off air,
appears
so
once.
we will
Yeah,
post
appears
that.
once. Yeah, I know. Well, that's why I didn't like it. Yeah, she shows up once. She's a fun cameo, but that's all there is to it. And I also would have probably said the Wolfman if there was still room, mostly to have a horror movie on here. But yeah, that's it.
I mean, we've got the Quiet Place movies; they're pretty close.
Ah, yeah, I forgot.
But yeah, for me, something I mentioned later. Also, I also would have brought up the Wolfman. Eventually, I think it's fun, a fun remake. I actually quite like the movie she did with Rupert Grint and Bill Nighy Wild Target. I think that's a lot of fun. And Wild Mountain Thyme, which is a movie I actually watched for this.
Ooh.
I think she's really good in it. I just didn't think anyone had seen it.
I've seen it. No.
But with that, as we go into the voting segment of this, how we vote is we're going to vote on what movie we want in 12th place, and then 11, so on and so forth. Everyone's done this multiple times; they know what this is. But JPO, what do you have for 12? Jonathan.
The Adjustment Bureau.
Eric.
I had hold on. Just say it. I'll also say the Young Victoria.
I put Looper, but Young Victoria.
Oh, we're not gonna
Just
let
for
you
a
do
little
that.
bit, actually.
Jonathan, what do you have for 11?
Yeah, I'll still stick with the Adjustment Bureau.
Eric, what do you have for 11?
I'll say Sunshine Cleaning.
I'm sticking with Looper, JPO.
Hey.
Sunshine Cleaning. I don't know if you intended to keep being muted, JPO, but you muted just in case.
Oh, shit. I was saying Simpatico so far.
Well, no, it was one of those ones. I wasn't sure if you muted for a reason or that, but yeah. But Eric, what do you have for 10?
I'll say the 5-year engagement.
Sticking with Looper, JPO.
Simpatico 5-year engagement.
Hey.
It doesn't matter
and
for me. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I have the same thing. So. Still have the Adjustment Bureau.
Sticking with Looper, JPO.
Salmon fishing in the Yemen.
Jonathan.
Adjustment Bureau.
Eric.
No, vouch for you, Jonathan. Just beer.
We're not Simpatico.
All right. Okay. Yeah, you know what? Yeah.
But JPO, what do you have for 8?
Salmon fishing in the Yemen.
Jonathan.
Salmon fishing in the Yemen.
Eric.
I also have salmon fishing in the Yemen.
Loop.
You're sleeping on Looper. Mouth will see it at nighttime.
Jonathan, what do you have for 7?
A Quiet Place Part 2.
Eric,
I also have A Quiet Place Part 2.
Looper, JPO.
Devil Wears Prada.
Interesting. Okay.
Eric, what do you have for 6?
Looper.
Looper, JPO.
Devil Wears Prada.
Jonathan.
Looper.
Ooh.
Yeah, 6 is good for Looper. The rest are still pretty good.
It's better than Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, but the word spread is iconic.
No, it's not. Looper's more iconic than sci-fi. Devil Wears Prada is fine. It's overrated.
I don't necessarily agree with that, but
This is actually tough for me now. Damn.
JPO, what do you have for 5?
Devil Wears Prada.
Jonathan.
The Devil Wears Prada.
Eric.
yeah, I'll let you have it. Devil Wears Prada. Yeah, that's actually pretty hard right now. The 5 movies, yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow. But Devil Wears Prada is going to be at 5. Jonathan, what do you have for 4?
This is a great movie, but technically it's not really her movie, so I put Oppenheimer.
Eric.
Said Sicario.
Edge of Tomorrow. JPO.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh.
That was my number 1.
My number 1 is.
I love this top 5, or well, not this top 5.
Oh, yeah.
Top 4 I love.
Eric, what do you have for number 3?
I'll stick with Sicario.
We've got Sicario. JPO.
Quiet Place.
Jonathan.
Oppenheimer.
Sicario's going to be 3. Now this time I'm going to vote for number 1 instead of number 2, and it's between Oppenheimer and A Quiet Place. I've got A Quiet Place number 1. JPO.
The Quiet Place.
Jonathan.
Quiet Place.
And Eric.
Yeah, I think Oppenheimer is the better movie, but I also say A Quiet Place. It makes more sense for her number 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that does bring us to the end of another rankum. Before I do wrap this up, JPO has to leave. JPO, where can people find you online?
Yeah, guys, the usual fun stuff over at the Periscope. You've seen all these people appear in the past for some ASATs, then other stuff, countdowns, fun stuff like that. Movie Hero Network. Thanks for having me on Rankum as always. Why We Love Horror, all that fun stuff. Multiplex. Catch you next time.
And with that, our top 12 Emily Blunt movies is at 12, we've got The Young Victoria. At 11, we've got Sunshine Cleaning. At 10, we had The 5-Year Engagement. At 9, we had The Adjustment Bureau. At 8, we had Seven Fishing in Yemen. At 7, we got Quiet Place Part 2. At 6, we got Looper. At 5, we got The Devil Wears Prada. At 4, we got Edge of Tomorrow. At 3, we got Sicario. 2, we got Oppenheimer. And number 1, we've got A Quiet Place. But that does bring us to next week. Next week's episode of Rankum, which I'm a little bit surprised about because I thought one of the movie topics would take this out, but it's going to be we're going to be talking about top 12 TV game shows, which is on the
Okay.
Yeah, as I said, it's considering what I had on the poll, I'm surprised it ended up pulling out that upset, but it'll be fun. It's always fun to talk about TV topic. But Jonathan, we can be on you online.
Is that your final answer? Okay. Maybe that's one of them. Yeah, survey says game shows. Yeah, you can find me in social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Letterboxd. It's a different variations of Scenic Arrow. I write reviews and other fun stuff. I do tournaments on Instagram. Right now I'm doing like 90s 90s non-animated family movies, and there were some surprises so far. And that's it. I mean, I think on Friday I was on Zach Shelton's Top 64, and we had some fun discussions about interesting movies on his list. I get a little pissed off on one decision, and then the other one I was laughing. But no, that was fun. Thanks. This is by far the quickest episode I've ever been in. This is a good record for me. So thanks for having me on.
But Eric, we can be on you online.
Yeah, I'm almost everywhere these people are. I'm at the ASATs, WWTs, the Full Metal. I was just there as a manager for Chris Diaz vs. Brian. Why We Love Horror, I'm going to have a couple matches in the next month or so. A match I had at Multiplex was just uploaded. I will be on Friday at the Movie Hero Network. It's going to be, I think, Richie versus Brian. It's going to be fun. I also go to the Movie Hero Network to get angry at people. I do the same thing. Like, why? And I'm probably forgetting something else, but you can find me. If you're in the community, you'll probably see me by now. Yeah.
And yeah, you can find me pretty much everywhere at this point. I host Rankum on Tape 3 every Sunday, and next week is going to be TV game shows. I pop around. I think I'm also on Movie Hero this Friday. And considering we started late, we still finished about the time we would normally finish.
Made it for lost time, so that's good.
So
snappy. I like that.
But just because it's pretty fitting considering technical difficulties today, I'm going to end on this clip.
Punctuality is something I demand from my employees. I need them to show up on time.